Welcome. This is the Terminal Exchange. And today, really excited because, well, we have a 2-for-1 deal and we have twins here. So we have Cody and Cole Zeller. Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Yep, glad to be here.
Yeah. So who's older?
So technically me by 1 minute, right?
Yep. It's not. It's a few minutes.
It's a few minutes?
Let's look at the birth certificate. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, just by a few minutes, me.
Okay.
So.
And what do you guys do here at Nussbaum?
I work in operations, and I am a customer account coordinator.
Okay.
And I'm in human resources, and I'm a driver recruiter.
Okay. Yeah. Do you guys enjoy that job?
I love it.
Yeah. No, I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Who do you think works with a better department?
I mean, clearly we do. I mean,
No, operations is pretty awesome.
I don't know.
It's a fun crew in operations.
If you guys are used to, if you guys have ever walked around Nussbaum in Cody's department, there are always a bouquet of flowers. And in Cole's department, there's probably going to be cheese balls or...
There's pork rinds there today.
Oh, pork rinds, yeah. Fridays, they have a little special deal. If you're there before 7 a.m., you might get Chick-fil-A or Casey's Pizza.
Wow.
That's right.
So...
Wendy's burritos or something.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome. So how about we talk a little bit about being twins since, it's what you guys have been born into. Have you grown up feeling like individuals? Did you ever feel like you were just...
Yeah. I'll say no. I'll say when we first, kind of in the early stages of our lives, there was the classic, you dressed alike, you did a lot of the same things, you had a lot of the same friends. So there really wasn't enough, I'll say enough room for individuality when we were first growing up. But I feel like that was just the stigma.
Yeah.
It was normal. It was normal. You were a twin, you looked alike, you did the same things, dressed alike, all those kind of things. So there really wasn't, to be frank, not a lot of room for individuality.
Well, you also, when you're 5 or 6, you don't really have the choice of a wardrobe. Your mom kind of dresses you, so mom definitely did that for sure too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say so.
Find us in a grocery store if we ran off or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Did you guys get mistaked for being one another?
Oh.
We still do.
We still do. Yeah. I just kind of pulling back to church specifically. People we've been going to church with our whole lives.
Yeah.
Still confuse us. To this day, and we're 26 years old.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and we obviously have separated from the dressing alike, right? You can clearly tell there's a difference sitting here, probably, hopefully, for those watching at home.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So you guys didn't always work together at Nussbaum.
No, we did not.
But now you do. And what's that like?
Yeah, it's a completely different experience to prior what we used to do. So me and Cody at one point actually did work together before Nussbaum. We worked at Apostolic Christian Westmore, so it's a nursing home in Morton, Illinois.
Okay.
So we were in the dietary department there, and so helped serve the residents, clean the dishes, and all the kitchenware and all that kind of stuff. And we did not enjoy that, right? We didn't.
Nope.
So we did that for about 2 years. 2 years probably. And Cody, you...
Yeah. So we both started there when we were seniors in high school. And yeah, like he said, we worked there for 2 years. And we were still young teenagers, and we butted heads. So, it wasn't always the best to probably have us together. We still did a good job, I would say, but I'd prefer because we could schedule ourselves. I didn't always like working with Cole just because I know we would probably butt heads.
Yeah.
But I worked there for only 2 years, and then I got a job at Lighthouse Buick GMC in 2014.
Yeah.
And I worked there for 4 years, and after that I came here.
Yeah.
So we only were together for 2 years, so I was just hearing Cole come in, I'm like, it was totally different because we were in totally different stages of life. So.
Yeah, Cody, and that was kind of a lot of my motivation for seeking out Nussbaum, because Cody was just raving, oh man, this place is awesome. I love it here.
Yeah.
And it was actually a pretty hard transition for you at first, just coming from Lighthouse, because for those, Lighthouse Buick GMC is a Christian, like similar to Nussbaum.
Yeah.
I would say Christian run dealership in Mort, Illinois. So
Yeah.
the cultures are pretty much identical, I would say.
Yeah.
So you coming from that was really hard. But he was telling me about all the opportunities here. And that was kind of like the light bulb, like, okay, he didn't like working with me before. So there has to be something about this place
where he's
that,
willing to.
where he's willing to just say, hey, like when opportunity comes your way, or look for opportunity here specifically.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, and I mean the biggest difference too is, I mean, we're in different departments, so it's not like we're working directly with each other anyways.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but and you know we see each other a handful of times a day at least,
Yeah.
Right.
in the break room or whatever.
So they do take lunch around the same time, and sometimes I get sad because I see that they don't eat together. I'm like, what's going on?
or there was the one time that we did, and Sage walked by and said, "Oh,
Precious, yes.
Yeah, one of my favorite things is just like, I don't know, seeing people fellowship together, whether it's drivers that don't know each other in orientation or, you know, brothers eating together. I don't know, it's just sweet.
yeah,
So when they eat by themselves, it makes me sad.
so sorry."
But-
We'll have to do that more.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you guys enjoy about, like, what do you like about recruiting?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a relationship guy. That's what really drives me. I'm a people person. So I think that aspect of it, like building relationships with people, even though it's over the phone.
Yeah.
And for the times that people do come into the office, I really enjoy that part of it. And I think big picture too, like it gives me a lot of fulfillment in knowing that I could potentially be working with somebody that would be a part of Nussbaum's long-term success.
Yeah.
Like if I have a guy that I'm just like, wow,
Yeah.
this guy just checks all the proverbial boxes of like what we want as a driver, right? What we look for. So I really enjoy that part of it, just kind of the detective work and
Yeah.
like seeing like, is this guy a culture guy?
Yeah.
All those aspects. So that's what really drives me in recruiting and what really excites me.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, I have worked in recruiting with Cole, now in marketing, but there's been a handful of drivers I see that are looking for Cole, that like to see Cole. Georgie, I know Georgie loves Cole.
I love Georgie too.
Yeah.
He's great. It's been a good
okay.
addition.
What do you do as a CAC?
So it stands for Customer Account Coordinator, and I'm on a team of 7 of us, and we each have a handful of accounts that we carry here for Nussbaum. So the freight that is in those trucks, it's going to a certain customer. Our responsibility is to be the communication liaison between the customer and the driver, basically, letting them know, you know, certain customers have certain requirements and expectations for when they want their freight at these locations.
Yeah.
So it's our job to communicate if we're running early, if we're running late.
Yeah.
We're the mouthpiece for Nussbaum.
Okay.
And operations as a whole is just a lot of fun. I have so enjoyed it. I'm a task-oriented person. I'm a type 2 on the Enneagram, and that's a helper. So I just like to serve and just do tasks. And we basically operate out of Outlook from our customers. So it's just you come in, there's 100 emails or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And I love to just start from the bottom and go up and work my way up. And I get excited about that.
Yeah.
And it is never the same day. There's always something different or new happening. So I love it.
When I first walked in Nussbaum, it kind of reminded me of like a 911 operator.
Yeah.
Like, especially in operations, because each person has like their light on. So it's red if they're on the phone. It's blue if they're just taking like a timeout. So as like kind of in a position like that, have you ever dealt with a problem where you're like, this is just too much for me? And when that happens, like what do you do?
I would say, honestly, there's never been a situation where I didn't think, like, I have to send this to somebody else. There were times where I would just, like, I'd need to, like, put the person on hold and just say, hey, I don't know this question that you're asking, but let me get you with somebody or let me seek some information and I can help you.
Yeah.
There's never been a situation, like, where, you know, I'm panicking, like, oh, my gosh, what do I do?
Yeah.
Like, but there's definitely situations. There's people that call in, you know, we're logged in and we get outside calls all the time. And the person may not know who they're reaching.
Yeah.
So sometimes, especially from first starting here, I would always think, like, are they wanting me? Like, do they want to talk to me? But sometimes they're looking for somebody else. And that's just where you have to have find context clues and ask questions, and just you find out what they need, and you may be able to help them, or you may know somebody else who is able to help them, and you just send them over.
Okay.
So I would say, short answer, no. I've never had like a situation to where I can't handle the call, but customers really appreciate it when you're honest and transparent. Like they like it. Like it's okay to say, I don't know the answer to that, but let me get you with somebody who does.
Yeah.
Show them that you care and you want to help them find the person to get the information they need.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really rewarding to like work at a company where everybody has that same sort of mentality where it's like, I may not know, but I will find out, instead of just being like, no.
Yeah.
Yep.
So good. Awesome. Well, I know this has been an unexpected year for a lot of people. I know both of you have recently gotten married. Do you guys kind of want to talk about how maybe COVID has affected that, or?
Yeah. I mean, I'll start just because, at first that defined my marriage at one point.
Yeah.
So I got married in May of 2020. So if you guys are checking your calendars, that was the heart of COVID, COVID-19. It was really tough. I remember, and it's so crucial. Nussbaum is really crucial in all of this because I remember coming in one day in middle of March when everything kind of started, right? Like there was that kind of week when there was hand sanitizer stations at the door, and Heather Swords was like, use your hand sanitizer and go to work and all that kind of stuff. So it was right when that happened. And I remember, and I watched the news more than I did then. And I wasn't watching the news, knowing what was going on. Like, hey, America's shutting down. Like I had no idea that was happening.
Yeah.
Wasn't very informed at the time. And I remember coming in one day and Heather Swords again was like, what are you going to do about your wedding? And I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, have you watched the news? And I was like, no, I don't watch the news. He's like, well, I was like, you better check the news.
Yeah.
So that was when, I think it was at one point, it was gatherings at no more than 100 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then Trump shrunk it down to 50. And then at one point it was 10, no more than 10. And that was before we got into the stay-at-home order, of course. And I just remember sitting at my desk, like just having a panic attack. Like, what? Because that order was extended. It was supposed to be done at the end of May, and my wedding was May 3rd of 2020.
Yeah.
So it was really hard. We invited 700 people, and we had 25 people.
Wow.
It was an empty sanctuary, the gathering area where we have the sermon and everything.
Yeah.
My father-in-law walked my wife down the aisle, and it was just me and Cody and my brother. And again, it was only 10 or less, so we were really trying to respect what the government was asking of us. So we didn't have my groomsmen on camera because of that. So they were in the back row there, actually. So the way back. So it was, and that was at the beginning, right? Like when everything was changing and regulations were happening. So I was blessed in the fact that I actually had decisions being made for me by the leadership in our church that were kind of helping with the wedding on both sides. So I didn't really have a lot of big decisions to make. It was just this is what it is. You don't really have a choice.
Yeah.
But that was really hard on me. I let that kind of define, like I said, my marriage at one point.
Yeah.
Some bitterness at first, right? Because now everybody's Cody gets married a year later and he's got 300 people there, right?
Yeah.
So, it made it very difficult, but it brought me closer to my wife, right? It made our spiritual relationship even stronger.
Yeah.
So I will never regret that.
Yeah.
But it was very challenging. Right out of the gate for me.
Yeah, it's definitely very hard. I feel like we can lose a lot of joy when we play that comparison game of, well, this person has this and I didn't get this, or
right.
But then you see kind of that silver lining or that blessing in there of your wife and you getting to kind of go through a trial together, which produces something so beautiful.
Exactly.
Before we started this, Cody was kind of saying he didn't think that he was going to get married so shortly after.
Neither did I.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about your experience?
Yeah. So kind of to parallel Cole's story a little bit, I I just remember being in that wedding. It still was a wedding day. It was still felt like a wedding day, just a little different, less people there, you know.
Definitely want to preface that. It was still a beautiful day.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to take away from that at all. It was awesome. I remember, a lot of people don't remember their wedding. I like almost remember every detail. Like, it's kind of crazy. It's it's awesome.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we're elephants too, though. We remember everything. At least
You're elephants?
Elephant never forgets is what they say. I've been told I just remember so many crazy things from like 10 years ago. And people are like, how do you remember?
You see that we're elephants? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
She sees it now.
But I would say, like, when I just even remember being in Cole's wedding, like, I'm not going to be doing this for a couple years, maybe longer, whenever God provides it to me, or I guess, or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, no. And COVID's happening too. He's like, I don't want to deal with all this, not being able to invite anybody, and like, let's just wait for a few years or more, however it happens.
Yeah.
And then you fast forward 6 months later, where I actually so me and my wife, I'll try not to tell the entire story, but me and my wife were friends before we got engaged.
Yeah.
I had known her for a few years before this, and we talked off and on.
Yeah.
And I would say it was towards October, November that she called me on the phone and kind of told me like, hey, where are we at with this? And I'm just like, that's a good question. And that was like, okay, so is this happening or not? So a couple conversations happened, a few dates happened, and we end up realizing this is God's will for us, is to be together.
Yeah.
And that happened in November, and I put in the proposal. That night I went to go see her father. I put in the proposal to my elder, and then I went and hung out with Cole and a friend of ours. And to fast forward 2 days later, I was out late the night before till like 3 a.m. So I was exhausted. I woke up to my phone ringing, and it's my friend that we were with that Thursday night telling me, hey, I tested positive for COVID.
Uh-oh.
And I'm like, really? And he goes, maybe you should get tested potentially. And I'm like, well, I don't have any symptoms. I feel fine. I'll give it a day or so, and I'll figure it out. I'll decide what I want to do. And my soon-to-be fiance, she hadn't answered me yet, but my soon-to-be fiance was on a retreat, so I couldn't even talk to her. She kind of was trying to stay away from her phone, and I was like, we'll see what happens. And I just remember falling asleep on my couch at 2 p.m. on a Saturday, waking up at 6 p.m. at night, and my head was on fire.
Oh.
And I'm like, uh-oh. And I checked my temperature, and I had like 102-degree fever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have COVID. So my wife, my soon-to-be wife, did not know that yet.
Yeah.
And she had got done with her retreat that Sunday. She called me. She knew that I had put in a proposal through our church, to the AC church, to marry her, to ask for her to marry me. And she was like, hey, how's everything going? I'm like, well, you sitting down? So guess what? I have COVID.
Yeah.
And she was going to meet with her elder that next day. And it worked out because he advised to let her give her like a week or so. He initially said, I usually ask him to wait a month. And he's like, well, actually, and she goes, well, I kind of know what I want to do.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, well, how about a week? And I'm like, well, that's perfect because he has COVID. So, so I quarantined and I worked for about a week or so, and then I got the answer that next week, and we got engaged, and that was the week of Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And that week I went to 3 different Thanksgivings, and I had only been to one Thanksgiving my entire life. So we went all over the place, and then we got announced that Sunday, and then we got married in March. And I would say the pandemic did not affect us too much. I would think at that point we were getting close to a year of this, and we knew what was expected. So we were planning a wedding based on COVID. So we knew like there's a potential we won't be able to invite that many people.
Yeah.
But as it started getting, we talked to our church elder, and he said you can invite up to 450 people.
Okay.
So we just split it down the middle, and we each invited, and we probably got about 200 to 300 people that showed up, and it was a good day. So that was at the end of March, and fast forward about 3 months later, and we are very happily married. So.
Yeah, there you are.
Yeah.
So, and then do you guys live like right next to each other right now? Or
we actually live very close. So
it's like 5 minutes away, probably.
Yeah, probably. So there's a street that runs through Morton called 4th Street.
Okay.
We're like not even 2 miles away from each other.
Okay.
we both own condos.
Yeah.
So I own a condo on one street. He owns a condo on the other. So
Yeah.
we're pretty close in proximity.
There.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's been a stretching year, sounds like. And I think that everybody reacts to like change very differently, but I think that it's obvious, like, to grow, we have to change. And as unfortunate as COVID has been, it's really cool to see how each of you, how God has used both of you just to navigate different things and the different blessings, even in the challenges and the trials. So
Yeah.
it's really exciting that you guys both now happily married, and you get to be individuals. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
yeah,
Very much so.
yeah. I did have a favor to ask, just to take it on a more humorous note.
Uh-oh.
So I miss recruiting. I miss hearing, some certain characters in recruiting. So I was wondering, Cole does like really awesome impressions. If you could.
Awesome is a stretch, but I attempt. Yeah.
No, he does pretty good.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Get ready.
should we do? Maybe I should do them. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't even say who it is.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do know, this will be streamed on a lot of different sources. You could just comment. And yeah.
All right, so we'll do impression number 1. Hello. In about 5 minutes, I'm gonna go to lunch, but there again, McDonald's drive-thru shrinking, so I should probably be fine. So that'll be fine. But yep, go ahead. What you need? So that was impression number 1. That was impression number 1. Impression number 2.
Hey man, I'm kind of hungry today. You wanna go to Pokeworks? Sushi burrito?
Why not? Usually followed by a no sometimes. Sorry about that. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Man, this is going to be one to remember.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Oh, man.
Wow. Yeah, those are rich, very rich, and very true. So why don't you guys tell me some, memorable quotes from Nussbaum? Some people here. What are funny things or things that have really stuck with you, whether it was leadership or whether it was Gary moving a trash can, I don't know, whoever. Not that Gary's not a leader too, but
Go ahead, Cody.
There's one thing I'll always take from here that I learned very early on, because I'm someone who can be very sensitive and sometimes express low self-esteem. So there's times you're going to get that phone call from a customer that's upset because their product didn't get here when they wanted it here, and things can be said and they can be very upset, and trying to decipher that is not directed at you and it's just they're upset at the situation.
Yeah.
That can be hard to deal with sometimes. And something that Doug Bradle, who oversees all of operations, has always told me, he said, just practice the acronym Q-tip. Quit taking it personally. He used a really cool story that really talked about that. Practicing that example is you have to realize that people who are upset are probably having to be who are also upsetting other people as well. Because whoever I'm talking to, they probably have to report to somebody else who is also upset with them. And sometimes it's just a venting process, and sometimes you're going to be an ear to listen sometimes for a customer, or it could be a driver or whatever. And a lot of times it's very easy to just like say that's directed at you and you're going to take it personally. And it's still a work in progress for me. I'm still practicing it every day, but that's one of the biggest things I've learned here is, obviously show love to everybody, and, take things in stride and take correction and education in all those moments, but just understand that it is not a personal thing in the business that we're in. This is a business, and it's just keep doing what you do every single day to the best of your ability.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing I've always taken away from here. It's still been a process, and my manager Josh too has been really great with that as well. Telling me it's like you can't take it personally, just move on.
Yeah.
And everybody, there's a support system here for you as well. and I do have that there with my team and operations in general. So I'm just very thankful for the position I'm in and the people I'm with, because the CAC team is like a family. So that's the other thing too. I just appreciate my CAC family.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there you go, guys. I mentioned all of you. So
Q-tip. I
a
will
whole.
remember that.
yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So likewise, wow, are we twins? So very similar. I'll say more along the lines is for me is I have very high expectations for people sometimes. Obviously, super in an unfair light. Like I create unrealistic expectations, and I would say sometimes divine. Like, I almost try to put like, you have to be super perfect like Jesus, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so that's a big fault of mine. And that's a direct reflection for myself though, because I have high expectations for myself too. And that's caused me to be perfectionist and very anxious.
Yeah.
So, just likewise, just something my good coworker and friend Joe Anderson told me, has told me all the time actually, is I can only change me. And that's something I've really practiced probably within this year, 2021, as early as we are into it, it feels like, is I can only change me, right? Somebody's dealing with something completely different in their life, right? I have hardships, they have hardships.
Yeah.
We all have hardships. And that could come out, vent out in anger, frustration, sadness, callousness, I guess. Just all sorts of things can happen, right? Just from life circumstances that happen outside of work, right? And I've really learned to be more compassionate with that and, not take somebody's feelings and emotion and make them my own.
Yeah.
And that's really, really helped me just as far as not like keeping low expectations for people, but giving them reasonable ones, especially the expectations that's laid out in the Word, right? Like it's very clear and written, all the different expectations God expects of us. So I would say that's a big one for me is I'm responsible for me and I can only change me.
Yeah.
And I'm the one who can make a difference.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's really good. And I think I've worked more so with you than with Cody, but I think I've seen you do a really good job with just like validating people, allowing them to actually like feel their emotions and say like it's okay that you feel that way.
Yeah.
So I've always appreciated that with you.
Well, thanks.
And I think you both are definitely like peacemakers where you're really good at bringing that to the table.
For sure.
So I have this little deck here. So it has some questions in it. And usually I'm really quick to think of questions, but it's kind of nerve-wracking down here sometimes. So actually, I'll just let you each pick one.
Okay.
And you can ask it to each other.
Oh, boy. Okay.
You first.
Okay. What do you value most in your friends?
I think I value care between friends. I like to show that I care and I love the person, but obviously you like to see that with them too. That's where you find out who your true friends are, is when there's care involved with the relationship.
Can you give an example of a time you experienced that?
There's a lot. I always, this is what I'm just specifically using because it happened here. Rick Schmidt in safety kind of told me one time, the fact that he just told me directly, I care about you and I want you to hear what I'm telling you.
Aww.
So I use that example. And so, when Rick did that for me, I really acknowledge that in our friendship.
Yeah.
See, those safety guys are sweet guys.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Cole, if you could ask one person one question and they had to answer truthfully, who and what would you ask? Whew.
Yeah, that's deep.
That's a deep one.
If I had to ask one question to one person, who would I ask? Because that's...
And they have to answer truthfully. So you get an answer.
Oh, my... Wow. That is a question.
Yeah.
Can you pick a different one? No. I don't know. I feel like I would Joe Biden, the president of our United States. So let's just insert whoever it would be. I would honestly want to ask a leader of our country, where do you put your faith? Do you like, when that trickles down to, do you believe in Jesus Christ?
Yeah.
I think that's something I would personally want to ask somebody who leads the country I live in.
Oh.
That's what came to my mind.
Oh.
So.
That's very
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah. It's a tough question. That's why I was like, should I ask this one? But that's I would want to know that.
Yeah.
Like, personally, right?
Yeah. These questions, I mean, they put you out there to be pretty vulnerable.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I want to participate, so can one of you ask
sure.
me a question? If it's inappropriate, then you could just pick a different one.
No, I'll change it. That one just seems a little bit more loaded.
Okay.
So is that one.
Oh. Thanks for looking out for me.
Here's one. Sage, if you had to teach a class on one thing, what would you teach?
Oh. The art of spontaneity.
Okay.
I think we're in an age where people get like super uncomfortable with change. I mean, this year, you just see how much happened, and I'd like to help people in uncomfortable situations be okay with that. I have seen God work miraculously through uncomfortable situations,
Right.
and I think that when we're willing to do things that are uncomfortable, God can show up. Kind of like when we're weak, he can be strong. So, just kind of teaching people to lean more into him and do things that might make them feel a little bit uncomfortable. That's why I really do enjoy this show.
Right, yeah.
Because not everybody on here is comfortable of coming on here. So, like I know Johanna, she was a little nervous last week. But yeah, I think I would love to teach people how to do uncomfortable things.
Okay.
Mostly, yeah, for their faith.
Yeah, that's
for
awesome.
sure. Awesome.
Cool. Well, there was another story that I really kind of wanted you to share about when you first started and you had a meeting with Jeremy. You said he said something to you that you would never forget.
Yeah, no, it was Jeremy was probably like, what's he going to say? But, no, yeah, it was, and I got to be careful when I say old building, but when we were in middle building, right, Jeremy's office, when you first walked in there, was on the right side, where sales is now, for those who don't know, is where recruiting and HR was, in that little tiny corner. And Jeremy's was the first office on the right. And we would do our recruiting touch point, which we do monthly, where we all get together in Jeremy, and we just kind of go over the lay of the land kind of thing, the climate of all things recruiting.
Yeah.
And it was like probably one of our first ones. It was just, at the time, it was just myself, Joe Anderson, and Jared Fair, and in recruiting there. And I don't know, we were kind of closing up and everything, and I'm just still getting to know Jeremy as I start here and everything. And I was just kind of telling these guys, Jeremy is one of the funniest mans in my life. I think he's hilarious sometimes. He has all these just great comebacks, number one, really witty jokes. So if you don't know Jeremy, get to know him. He's really funny, okay? So it was just that, I don't know what we were talking about. We were kind of talking about sales for some reason, and he was basically implying and saying that when you purchase something, you never get 100% for what you put into it. Is basically, so what you get back, so you're not going to get a complete 100% investment, is basically what he was saying. And he just at the drop of a hat just goes, the one exception here is Jack's Pizza. And I thought it was the funniest. I was like, wow, that guy's got humor. So I'll just never forget that. It was one of my first couple of weeks, and it was just really funny.
He's not wrong either.
Yeah, he isn't wrong. That's the thing. That's what was even funnier. It's like, he's totally right.
Yeah. Jeremy walks in typically in mornings, and he does this big like, hello. And it almost feels like, like a famous person is walking in and he's just greeting everyone.
Indeed.
I know he doesn't think he's famous at all, but but yeah, we have a really special office here, and it's so sweet to be able just to get to know different personalities and it's so cool to see too how different people like make an impact of whether it's Jack's Pizza or reminding you like not to take things personally or or whatever you may have it. So yeah, I have a gift for you guys.
Ooh.
So it's in this bag, and it's very similar to like what I'm using actually right now. So this is just like a thank you for being on here.
Thank you.
And do you guys journal? Do you write a lot?
So it is actually something I've recently picked up.
Okay.
To be honest, a lot of power in that. Just journaling. I journal prayers. I will sometimes if I'm thinking about something, whether negative or positive, it helps to just kind of get it on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been something. I mean, I will use this. So I mean, it's been something I've been doing a lot.
I've done it off and on, so I usually take notes when I read. If I'm doing a Bible study or something like that, I always like to write stuff down. But it's always something I've said, I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to do it. So this would be a good time to start.
Okay. I want to do a little exercise too, just to see how well you guys know each other. So Cody, what is Cole's favorite color?
Red.
That's correct.
Cole, what's Cody's favorite shirt? Like, what would he wear the most often?
A classic rock tee.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. Cody, what's Cole's favorite artist?
Van Halen.
What's that?
A classic rock band.
It's changed, but I grew up listening to Van Halen a lot. They're just a classic rock band. Now I'm embarrassed.
But was I wrong? But was I wrong?
No. But
It used to be his Facebook name. He called himself Cole Van Halen Zeller.
no.
Oh.
So yes, it is
Could
definitely his
you
favorite.
what's like a lyric to one of their songs?
Panama. That's all I can think of right now. Or might as well jump.
The song Jump. So the song Jump, very popular 80s song. I'm sure
Might
everybody's
as well
heard
jump?
it. Might as well jump. And everybody else, jump! So that's like one of their most famous songs,
Yep.
Jump. So
And that's just the premise of the song.
pretty much.
Pretty much.
I hope so.
Yeah. Who knows?
Yep. Didn't really look into the meanings too much, but probably should have, and I would have stopped listening to them. But yeah, that was very just a classic hair metal band from the 80s that I loved in my younger years, way younger years.
Okay. Do you guys have what's Cody's game name? Does Cody have a game name, like a gamer name? Is that like a thing?
Oh,
Like a
Oh, my gamer tag?
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
when we used to play,
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I know it.
No, yeah, just say
Is it
it.
appropriate?
No, it's appropriate. Yeah. So his initials, CZ Blue Ranger, because Cody and I were big Power Rangers.
Power
fans
Rangers, yeah.
growing up. So.
Okay.
I was like, everything else that I was trying to do was taken. And I'm just like, well, they're kind of retro and throwback. There'll be people that appreciate it, so let's go for it.
10-year-olds watch it. So
And
it'll be
10-year-olds
great,
watch it. Yeah. So yes.
Okay. If Cole was a superhero, which one would he be?
If you were a superhero. So
Is this like based off who you think my favorite is?
yes.
Okay.
Oh man, I'm gonna be bad if I get this wrong. Cole would be Venom because his favorite Marvel character is Venom.
He's not a hero though.
He's an anti-hero, actually.
Yeah.
You're calling him a villain?
Yeah.
But that is Cole's all-time favorite comic book character.
Yeah. So comic book character would be him, of course. When I was
Spider-Man villain.
Yep. So, but
Okay.
I would say my favorite is I love the Spider-Man story and all that. So it would probably
Yeah.
be my favorite.
Do you know which action figures are currently at Cole's desk?
Well, he's got a few Funko Pops, and he's also got a model Godzilla figure. He's got that, and then he's got a Macho Man Randy Savage Funko Pop, and he's also got a Spider-Man Funko Pop.
So they're bobbleheads, right?
So they're bobbleheads.
Yeah.
Kind of like
Yes.
bobblehead. So Spider-Man went home, but I do have Timon and Pumbaa.
Yes.
Which is me and Cody's favorite Disney characters.
Yep.
So Cody is Timon and I am Pumbaa.
Yep.
How did you decide that?
That's the songs we always sang as kids.
Yeah.
Lion King
What
was our
parts
favorite.
we would sing, who would sing. So.
Yeah.
So how does that one go?
Oh no.
Do you want me to do it? Can I do it?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Come on.
Well, it could get loud, but it's fine.
Okay.
Why, when he was a young warthog.
When I was a young warthog.
Very nice.
Thanks.
I hope it doesn't burst anybody's eardrum. That's really good. I actually didn't think you were going to belt it out.
I said close. It's gonna get loud. Everybody in marketing is probably like, or in accounting is like, what just happened? Is this soundproof?
Is there an
guys?
opera in this?
Oh no.
This
That
is our
was
last visit on Terminal Exchange.
Yes, it is. Yes, that was seriously. Lion King was our favorite movie growing up, and that's what we did. We did Hakuna Matata.
Can you do like? Is it the Wingo Wep? Or that's a different movie.
No, that's
No, they
it.
do it.
No, yeah, can you do that part?
A weemba wep, a weemba wep, a weemba wep. I can't hear you, buddy. Back me up. Oh gosh.
Oh my!
Wow.
I did not think this
Okay.
would all come out.
It's who we are, though. We're
That's
goofs
true.
sometimes. It's,
Yep.
we both like to. Sometimes we try to provide the entertainment, just try to liven up the room a little bit.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That was rich. That was. I'm gonna fall asleep thinking about that. Like.
Oh, and he's belting out Pumbaa. But yeah, so yeah, the action figures. Yeah, those are
Okay.
they're all on my desk.
My favorite of his is actually that knight pen holder. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
it's pretty awesome. Where'd you get that thing?
Amazon.
Okay, that's awesome. I always want to like mess with that thing.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
anybody's
And
been
then
by my
hold the-
desk, I have a knight kneeling, and it's like instead of like a sword, it's my pen. So, and Caleb Gee has returned to Nussbaum, and he loves it. He's like, Cole, I almost took that while you were gone. So,
Wow. Well, I think we'll close there unless you guys have any other remarks or.
yeah,
Questions?
no, I just good majority of our audience is drivers and people that work at Nussbaum,
Yeah.
and I'm thankful to be a part of the family with you all, and we work at a great company, one that glorifies God daily. So
Yeah.
it's been a pleasure. I mean, honestly, like me and my wife have talked about just through the hardships in the last year or so. We're just so richly, in a spiritual sense, blessed
Yeah.
by our coworkers and who we work for, and
Yeah.
very, very thankful for that. So thank you all for being a part of that.
Yeah.
I mean, we, Nussbaum is the name, and we all make it up.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's all of us together.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. The only thing I like to say is something I'm on the ESOP committee here at Nussbaum, and I usually will sometimes do a portion in orientation to drivers, and something I always try to hit on for them is because the drivers are the heart of our company. They really help run this place.
Yeah.
And I will say that each and every one of you here that drive for us, you are appreciated. And there's guys that have come from different carriers that say they were just a number, and here you are not just a number. We do love and appreciate you here, and you are part of a family. So
Yeah.
I will say I'm a part of that family, and I'm blessed to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Today I'm in the mailroom and I work with. I help drivers get their uniforms and stuff like that. And I was helping a driver, and I go, "What's your name?" And he gave me his truck number, and I go, "Oh no, I don't keep track of truck numbers. I keep track of names."
Yes.
So,
very good. That's awesome.
so yeah, it is such a joy to work here, and we get excited when drivers pop in and see us. And if you're a driver and you're also interested in wanting to be on the terminal exchange, it's uncomfortable, but it's fun. And so, yeah, shoot marketing@nussbaum.com a message. And yeah, if you guys have any questions too for Cole and Cody, whether it's about maybe what church you go to, or a question about, how did they act with COVID, or something like that, are you guys open to
absolutely,
direct any questions?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
yeah. Email us. The directory's got our emails, or give us a phone call.
Just twins@Nussbaum.
was that? Yeah.
And
Puma and what was it?
That should be my gamer tag.
Yes.
I would say too, just for drivers who come in through the terminal, if you're only here once or twice a year, you'll see us. You'll see one of us.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to say hi. I'll make sure and try to say hi to you.
Yep.
So.
Likewise.
Yeah. Yeah. You'll see flowers by his desk and
Yes.
cheese balls or some sort of food.
Action figures.
Action figures. All right. Thanks for tuning in. See ya.
You've been listening to Terminal Exchange, the official podcast show of Nussbaum Transportation. Nussbaum is an industry leader in over-the-road freight transportation. For more information on Nussbaum's award-winning truckload services and top-paying driving careers, go to nussbaum.com or nussbaumjobs.com. Thanks for listening to this episode of Terminal Exchange. New episodes arrive every Tuesday, so be sure to subscribe to our show wherever you listen to podcasts and share a little love by writing us a review. Then, go deeper into each exchange or listen to previous episodes at our podcast page, terminalexchange.org.